So then, here we are at the third round of the GP2 offline series. Senna starts on pole with Hill in second. And after a long wait, we are underway here in Imola. Senna looks like he's got a very good start in that Ferrari as he flies down this main straight here. Hill is going to try and go round the outside of the Tamburello, but he's not going to be able to get that done. Round they all come, flying down. Is that Irvine maybe going side by side with Hill here? And who's that there? Is that Berger going to try and go down the inside? They're going side by side, Berger and Herbert. Now it's Hill and Irvine. Irvine's going down the inside in the hairpin. And is that going to be Irvine up into second place? Don't believe so, no. Hill slots into P2. As we look further down, Herbert, Berger, there's a Lacey in 6th. Morbidelli and Panis in 7th and 8th. That's really good for footwork. That's who's that? That's a Lacey there going a little bit defensive into the chicane. There's Berger making his debut for Ferrari in replacement of Nigel Mansell, who actually got that race ban after the Pacific. So they all fly around these chicanes as the gaps have now... Is that Gianni Morbidelli now going to try down the inside? No, he backs out. Rightfully so, and that's also, I believe, Johnny Herbert going down the inside now of Irvine. Second, not the second to last corner. The left of Ratzer. Herbert in third, we're on board with the back of Senna as he finishes lap 1. There we go, there's Morbidelli there. Trailing teammate ahead of Vega. Michael Schumacher in 10th, Hayes in 11th, Fischer-Keller in 12th for Minardi, Mika Hakkinen in 13th, Frentzen 14th, Thwonka 15th, Rydell in 16th for Benetton, Herta 17th. There's Larini, and that's also Deep trying to go down the inside there in his Lamborghini. Now that Lamborghini, I say Jordan Lamborghini. And there's Leto, they're going to try and get down the inside of his teammate. No, he isn't. That's Deep going to go down the inside of JJ Leto, P19 there, as all make their way around. Pedro Diniz at the back there. Pedro Diniz is replacing Pedro Lamy after his actions in Pacific. But here is Ayrton Senna. That's not Ayrton Senna, that's Rubens Barrichello. There's Ayrton Senna leading the race. Damon Hill just ahead of Johnny Herbert, his teammate. Eddie Irvine just ahead of Berger as well in 5th. John Lacey 6th for McLaren. Olivier Panis now ahead of Morbidelli. We must have missed that. But that is Panis now ahead of Morbidelli, his teammate. Sonny Hayes, Keller, Mika Hakkinen, Frentzen, Thwonka holding up Rydell. I think Rydell wants to try and get past, but that Jordan is going to be quite tough to get past as it is very powerful down the straights. Now, Ride on board with the Benetton. He's going to try to go down the inside of Tamburello. Very ambitious, trying to make a move down there. And that is, who was that? That was Hayes, I think, going down the inside. Or defending, maybe. From Fittipaldi. So we now head all the way back here. And that is Deeks now trying to go down the inside. Deeks gone down the inside of Larini there. So Jordan looking very quick. But there's a big old traffic jam stuck here. As Rydell is stuck behind the Jordan. So Irvine as well. Again, missed this. Irvine is now in P3. Just ahead of Herbert. Williams as well. He is sandwiched by, trying to make a bit of an impact. Because that's Berger now trying to go down the inside of Herbert, but he's not going to get that one done. They're now coming down Ravazza. Damon Hill. Eddie Irvine, Herbert, Berger, and Lacey, Panis and Morbidelli. And Elliot Vega holding on to 9th. For Ferrari, Schumacher 10th. Hayes 11th, Fischer-Keller 12th. Hakkinen 13th, Frentzen 14th, and here we go. This is the traffic jam. But that is again. Oh, Rydell's going to try to go down the inside there, but I think Rydell's getting a bit frustrated now, getting stuck behind the Jordan. Jordans are looking quick at me in this round. You have to say, it might just be the engines that are helping them out quite a lot here. Rydell is getting frustrated, getting stuck behind Jordan. So we're going to go and have a look here. Is that Rydell going to try and maybe send one? No, he's not going to get it done. He can't get past. Far ahead of him is just too quick, and he's stuck in a Jordan sandwich now. Is Rydell. So, Rydell struggling to make his way past. There's now Damon Hill is now going to have to try and defend from Irvine for second place here. So Irvine, after winning in Pacific, is looking to hopefully, maybe, make it double. And here we go, he's going to try and go down the inside here. Is he going to back out? He's backed out there. Wise move from Irvine, and that's also, sorry, that is Berger going down the inside for fourth place on Herbert. That's Berger up into fourth. Herbert fifth, Alesi sixth, Panis seventh. Vega's now on the back of the two footworks. Rest of the cars. Yeah, and here we go, the traffic jam is still here. Jordan holding up Benetton massively here. Rydell needs to just pick his moment. Hopefully he can get a good exit here and maybe snatch it from him on the straight. But that is Irvine, sorry. I think trying to go for a move on Hill. No, can't get that one done. As here we go, surely Rydell will get Thornk here. Surely he'll get him. There we go. He's going to go side by side. No, he can't get him. He can't get him. So, the driver we're having a look at now hasn't qualified for the first two races, and now he's holding up Ricard Rydell. So I'm not sure how Rydell will be taking that. Our Berger seems to be pretty quick in that Tyrrell at the moment. Herbert, Alesi, Panis, Morbidelli, Vega. So Vega at the moment is doing exactly what he needs to do. Ferrari. Doing exactly what was asked of him. Just drive a clean race, and he's done that so far. As there's a bit of a battle, and Deaksdale going down the inside of Rydell. That's Jordan. Both Jordans are now ahead of Rydell. I can't believe this. Jordan are looking really quick today. This is not something I was expecting. After Johnny Ferdinand was under pressure from the board of Jordan. There's yellow flags. That's Patrick Pardy. Patrick Pardy is out of the race after getting a 10-place grid penalty for this one. He hasn't been able to go no further, and he's out with the suspension failure. There we go, he's being dragged away there. So that is very unfortunate for the Minardi driver. And there's a bit of a lock-up as Rydell's now back through on the Jordan. So this scrap for P15 will not want to go much longer for Rydell, I'm pretty sure. He will want to be trying to make his way past ASAP because he is not having fun. No, can't get that done. So, there we go, it's over. I'm going to try again. No. Not Irvine, sorry. Rydell. So, Rydell still stuck behind. When there's smoke billowing from the back of one of the Jordans, that's Deekt. He's smoking already. So that is, he's now going to try and move out of the way without getting in anyone's way. And I think he is. And that's all the Simtek going to try. Oh, move out of the way. There we go. We move back now. So there's the smoking Jordan. But has deked out of this race. After it seemed like he was doing quite well. Fortunately, him out. But Q still lives on here. I'm sure Rydell would have preferred that to be the Jordan ahead of him rather than one behind him. But here we go. Is Rydell going to try one down the inside here? I think he is. Nope. He's backing out. It's a brave man who tries to go down the inside on that chicane. But here we go. Here's Damon Hill. Ahead of Eddie Irvine. Yeah, Berger. Following behind. Johnny Herbert as well. Now under pressure from John Lacey for McLaren. As they're now flying down. Umbrello. It's cute. Oh, it's on fire now. Crikey, yeah, that's not looking too great, is it, for Jordan? But look at this. Rydell, I mean, this is a massive traffic jam right now. And I'm really surprised Rydell hasn't been able to get past yet. I think he is now, though. Here we go. No, he isn't. He's backed out. Rydell, what are you doing? He doesn't seem like he's confident enough to make a move here. So, I mean, everyone's getting held up by this Jordan. So we have Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, Eddie Irvine, Berger, Herbert, and Lacey. Hannes in 7th, Deli 8th, Vega is in 9th. There's Schumacher as well, just ahead of Sonny Hayes, Mika Hakkinen, and Carlo Fisichella. And all he needs to do at the moment for Minardi, after he's already lost one Minardi, so he's just trying to hold position. Jordan there, Dick, who retired. Around they come then. Start their 9th lap. Obviously Senna's already started his, but we're just having a look back at this traffic jam that's getting caused here behind the Jordan. Rydell really is going to have to make a move now, because this, I don't think this can go on for much longer. I'm sure the Benetton team boss can be very angry. He has to send it now. No. He's not doing it. And I don't know why. It's Ligier now as well. Going down the inside. No, he's not. He's backed off. Leto and Herta. On the onboard of Eddie Irvine in 3rd. Training Damon Hill. Things were to finish as they are. Damon would finish this race in the lead of the championship, as you now ride on board with David Coulthard in this train of cars. Is that Sorhave? That is Herta. Trying to defend from the Ligiers. I think he's basically trying to say to him, look, if you stay in this train, hopefully Benetton will get past eventually. So now I'm going to go and ride on board with Rydell. Now I'm going to hopefully try and send a move. No. No. He's not doing it. That is Gerhard Berger here. Just ahead. Johnny Herbert. Donna Lacey. Hannes Morbidelli. Is Vega going to look down the inside? No. Vega's just holding on to the back, and there's Mika Hakkinen there. I think that's Mika Hakkinen going down the inside of Schumacher. So Mika Hakkinen now up into P10. I do wonder when the first of the pit stops are going to be coming through. Who is that there? That is JJ Leto. He's going to try one down the inside of Herta. No. Backs out. That train continues. Yep, here we are. Riding on board with Brian Herta. Just behind. Sorry, is that Berger ahead of Herbert? I think he's been ahead of Berger. Berger has been ahead of Herbert. Sorry. Panis, I believe, losing a position to Morbidelli. So Panis has, I think there's been a bit of a position swap here in the footwork squad. So Morbidelli and Panis. There you go. Hakkinen. That's one coming in. That is Giancarlo Fisichella is our first of the stoppers. Speaking of stopping, I feel like Rydell probably want to pit now. Get the undercut on this Jordan because he's losing chunks and chunks of time. Is he going to do it? No, he's staying out. And Fisichella is the only one that's stopped at the moment. So I wonder if that maybe is for an issue. We'll see. Maybe it's just an early strategy call. As Eddie Irvine, our two championship protagonists at the moment. Irvine and Hill. Neck and neck here. For second place. There we go. That's Irvine. Is he going to try and get a move done here? No. He backs off. Because now Berger is tucked in behind him. Got Johnny Herbert as well. Morbidelli. We've got Panis. Vega. Hakkinen. Schumacher. And Hayes. Frentzen in 13th. And Thwonk again. That's Rydell trying to make a move on him. And Fisichella has come out in this train. So is Fisichella now going to get held up and lose a whole host of time? As Vega pits. So Vega is in the pits. So Ferrari have made the call. Maybe pitting now is right. Hopefully he can get, for his sake, he can get out ahead of this train. Because if not, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for Elliot Vega. He's ahead. So Vega gets out ahead of the train. And that's another car coming in as well. Not sure who that was. I think that was a Ligier coming in. Oh, no, it isn't. So Herta's in. I think it might be a Ligier. I think this might be and Lorini's in. So yeah, Ligier in. Here we go. Is this the chance now? No, it isn't. Oh, Rydell. Here's Damon Hill now. And that is... Sorry, that's Berger. Berger's got ahead of Irvine. I completely missed that in all the kerfuffle. And that is Berger now in third place ahead of Eddie Irvine. So Berger doing very well for Tyrrell. I believe that's Senna boxing. So Senna is now in the pits. Here he goes. So Senna's in. Senna is in the pits. And that's Gerhard Berger boxing now as well. So Berger comes in. And Damon Hill is our new race leader. So Damon Hill inherits the lead, followed by Eddie Irvine. Johnny Herbert, a Lacey now, in the slipstream of Herbert. But unable to get close enough to now ride on board with Eddie Irvine. But no, we're going to go back here. And Schumacher is looking down the inside of Hakkinen. No, you can't get that one done. Hakkinen in 6th place for LaRousse at the moment. Sleep probably not running in the points. As there have been drivers that have boxed. There's Senna in 9th place now, trailing Sonny Hayes. Frentzen 10th. Berger's 11th. And that's smoke coming out the back of Morbidelli's car. That is smoke. Oh. Smoke. Morbidelli, who's just made a pit stop, I believe, now has smoke. He's on fire! Morbidelli is on fire. He's going to try and continue, but the Peugeot will go no further in this race, as he is out. So, he's going to have to try and pull over at some point. There we go. He's... Oh dear, oh. Yeah, the engine's cut off, he's going to have to pull over. There we go. Over he goes. That's Morbidelli. Out of this race, his teammate comes in, actually. Panis is in. It's Fittipaldi, Salo and Pedro Diniz as well, struggling here with the back markers. It's Elliot Vega. There's Rydell still stuck behind the Jordan. Now Senna is looking to try and get past. Oh, hey. Senna trying to get past Hayes, but no, Hayes is going to make life hard for Senna here. Is this the benefit burger? Rydell pits. So Rydell is in the pits. Hopefully he'll get a bit of an undercut on the Jordan, who is still out at the moment. And it's Damon Hill and Lee Irvine battling for the lead of the race. So there's Johnny Herbert. So there's John Lacey. Mika Hakkinen now as well, running in 5th position. I'm not entirely sure what the strategy options here are today for the teams, but so far, I think the sign of some teams pitting this early means some might be going for a 2-stopper or a 3-stopper, and that is Hakkinen coming in. So Hakkinen is in the pits. Here he is. Hakkinen goes into the pit lane. LaRousse Ford goes in. We now have a look at Ricard Rydell. There we go. So he's been jumped by the Ligier, and I believe that's Herter. So just shows there that the undercut is quite powerful here, especially if you're stuck behind a slow-moving Jordan. There's Johnny Herbert, past Irvine now as well. And there's Senna. He's going to try to send one down the inside. He is indeed. That is Senna up into 5th place. Senna on Schumacher there. Now right on board with Eddie Irvine, running in 3rd place. So bit of a train, not a train really, but the top 4 are all still stuck together. Now have a look at David Coulthard, who's having a much better time than he did in the Pacific so far. There's Rubens Barrichello, our podium sitter last round, is lounging down in 17th, so unfortunate there. Rubens. There's Larini. That's Larini, that's far coming out the back of Larini's car. And he's off. Larini's off. That's Irvine and Herbert in the pits. It's another engine problem. So drivers struggling with their engines here today. As Larini and Senna P3. So let's see where the Berger jumps them massively there. So Berger jumps Herbert and Irvine massively. So yeah, that's Berger basically in a net P2 at the moment. How long will he be able to hold on to that for? And there's Elliot Vega as well in a very good position. So Vega as well has jumped Panis and Hackett. I think it's just Panis actually. See, that was that retirement of the other footwork. So and there's a Lacey. I believe a Lacey and Hill probably box this lap. I had to assume, but obviously I don't really want to assume. 16 laps in out of 61. Now riding on board with Damon Hill here. So, is he going to come in? No, he isn't. He's staying out. But a Lacey comes in. So a Lacey boxes, and that will put Senna into P2. Schumacher maybe into P3 if he doesn't box now. And he doesn't, so that's Schumacher into P3, sorry. Schumacher into P3, Senna into P2. Berger to P4 there. So, top stuff. So there's Elliot Vega. Panis and Mika Hakkinen. So Mika Hakkinen are now going to try and get past Panis. Sole remaining footwork. I mean, also the only remaining LaRousse, but as Jordan. is still not pitting, so Jordan's just liking to make life harder for drivers today. That's a car coming in. I think that's the Sauber of Barrichello's. Barrichello comes in. Sarle, Deniz. Herta and Rydell here. So Rydell now on the back of Herta. After these two. Boxed. After being stuck behind the Jordan for so many laps. Panis, bit of a lock up there from Panis. Whoa! That's a big lock up from Panis. So, Panis feeling the pressure from Mika behind him. Tell you what, Mika's looked pretty quick in that LaRousse today. He's hustled that around quite a bit. Get it in the position it's in. Is he going to try and go down the inside of Panis? No. He's not going to get that one done. And that's Frentzen as well, going to try going down the inside of the Simtek. No! Very bold to try and go down the inside there, as that is Schumacher into the pit lane. So Schumacher boxes from third place. That puts Berger into third. Senna now in second. Hill, who hasn't pit yet, is still in the lead. So let's now have a look at Sonny Hayes. Going down the main straight. It's his teammate, Gerhard Berger. Running P3. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa! That is a massive accident. That is a huge accident for Sonny Hayes. Let's have a look at the replay. That is colossal. There's a Schumacher coming out the pit lane. Oh, no! That is massive. And that is Sonny Hayes out of this race. That is a huge crash. That is massive. That is, I've never seen the likes. Battered that car is. I've never seen the likes of that. That is a huge, huge accident. And we'll be all hoping that Sonny Hayes is okay. And now Rydell is also struggling to get past Herta. But that was colossal. And again, adding to Tyrrell's woes. The car looked good today. It really did. Schumacher coming out the pit lane. Sonny Hayes clearly didn't see him coming out the pit lane. Replays will have to be looked at after that, but investigation. But so unfortunate, and we all do hope that Hayes is all right. So that is massive. But Berger running P3. Tyrrell will be praying with every fibre in their body that Berger can hold on. Because that incident there was not one I don't think Tyrrell will want to see. That was massive. And that's Eddie Irvine now trying to go down the inside. Is he going to get that one done? He's going to try and round the outside of Jean Alesi, but he's not going to get it done. So Jean Alesi holds off of the swerve. So Eddie Irvine has performed amazingly though for Benetton so far. I think outperforming many expectations that were set on him. Giancarlo Fisichella now going to try down the inside of the Jordan. Nope, can't get that one done. But no, isn't. Then there's Fisichella now getting stuck behind the moving chicane. And then we have a look at Senna. For Ferrari. There's Mika Häkkinen now going to try and go down the inside of Panis. No, he's not going to get that done. Now cameras point to Berger. No, they don't. Point to Coulthard instead. He's got a car going down the inside of him. And that is Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So Frentzen now up into P14. And then, there we go. So we've got Hill first, Senna is in second, Berger third, Herbert fourth, John Lacey fifth, Irvine sixth, Vega in seventh, Panis eighth, Hakkinen following him very close behind in ninth. Michael Schumacher is in 10th. As Mika Hakkinen now is going to try and go for a move. No, he isn't. He's going to stay behind Panis. And there's Schumacher. So the Jordan driver, Twonka, now still ahead of Fisichella. Fisichella will want to make a move. Is he going to do it? He isn't. Good defending there from the Jordan. He's pulling out all the stops at the moment. You know, right on board with Damon Hill, the leader of the race. We want to be looking at the closest battle on track at the moment, and that is Panis ahead of Hakkinen, with, I believe that is Schumacher behind. It is indeed Schumacher. Schumacher and Hakkinen behind Panis. Panis is doing what he can here to hold off, and that's Hakkinen trying to go down the inside. No, so Panis still holds off Hakkinen and Schumacher for now, so he's got some work to do here if he wants to hold on to that P8. They now round the final few chicanes here. Plant the power down. And the main straight. There we go. So Hakkinen now trying everything he can to get past Panis, but he can't get past the footwork. So battle lingers on. A look at Senna as well. I think we want to be looking at how Jordan's getting on, as he still has not boxed, and he's still just making life harder for the cars behind him. But for a driver who hasn't qualified once this season, to be running in P11 at the moment isn't too shabby. Senna, Berger, Herbert, Lacey, Irvine. There's Vega. We've got Panis still defending from Hakkinen. Hakkinen still can't find a way through. I can't lie, it seems like this track is quite difficult to overtake on for the drivers. They are struggling to make overtakes, which is quite surprising. But it may be drivers might be conserving engines, or we just don't know what the reason is. But Panis remains ahead of the LaRousse and the Lotus. And the Lotus, they're swerving just to have a look. He's going to, oh no, never mind, he's going to go send one down the inside there. Is he going to try 2 in 1? No, he isn't. And that's Schumacher past Hakkinen. Incredible move there. That was a really good job. That's Schumacher into 9th place there for Lotus. So Lotus retired both cars in the last race, but this time I think they're going to be something different. So now, okay, still remains ahead of Fisichella, who can't get past. There we go, there's our top 6, and there's Vega, just outside of points. There's Ferrari, there's Panis, Schumacher, Hakkinen now. Struggling to get past. And here we go. Is that going to be a move for Fisichella down the inside of the chicane? No. That's the Jordan driver still sticks ahead. Oh dear. Now on board with Schumacher. He seems like he's chopped a bit of time there. So Panis ahead is because he's got Hakkinen down the inside. That is why. Hakkinen tried, but I think he could sense Schumacher was just going to close the door with him there at Tamburello. And the next driver behind is the sole Jordan left in this race. So... Oh! Senna's off! Senna's slowing! Senna is out! Senna is out with suspension. He was chasing down Damon Hill, but that's Senna out with the suspension problem. And his teammate, Elliot Vega, passes him there, and that's another car out. That's David Coulthard. David Coulthard is out with a transmission problem. It's all kicking off now. David Coulthard is out. There's Damon Hill just passing David. Berg is now in second place for Tyrrell. Herbert is in third. Lacey fourth. Irvine fifth. Vega is now in sixth after the retirement of his teammate. But awful stuff. Ferrari at their home Grand Prix have Senna retire, not even due to an engine failure. It's suspension. And it's super unlucky. Super unlucky. I mean, you have to feel for the Ferrari squad who have tried so hard to get a result. But again, it just doesn't seem like it will come in Imola. But saying that, there is still Vega in this race. There is still a lifeline for Ferrari. Elliot Vega continues in sixth on debut, which is incredible so far. Jordan Lacey fourth, Eddie Irvine fifth. Vega sixth, Panis seventh, Schumacher eighth, Hacken ninth. Fawonka in 10th, just ahead of Fisichella, Leto. And Fittipaldi in 14th there for Pacific, and then it's Salo, Deniz, and Herter and Rydell have just really struggled today. Two top teams, two drivers from two top teams, shall I say. Struggling. Now right on board with Johnny Herbert, who I believe is now chasing down Berger. Go back to ride out. So, Damon Hill, Berger, Herbert, Lacey Irvine. There's Vega. Panis and Schumacher there, heated in a bit of a battle, it seems. Hakkinen now seemingly dropping off just a little bit to this pack. There's the Roos Ford. Fisichella going to try and get past the Jordan driver. No. Now right on board with Johnny Herbert just behind Berger. Seems like Herbert is closing the gap just a little bit on Berger. Oh. Johnny Herbert, after struggling in Pacific along with the whole team really, wanting to bounce back, actually, after getting P1 and P2 in Brazil, DNFing in Pacific. They want to bounce back for this one. Damon Hill, Berger. And Panis now has Schumacher down the inside. Schumacher not feeling it. We have the last runner at the moment is Barrichello. And Rydell, Herter, Deniz, Salo, Fittipaldi, Princeton, Leto, Fisichella, Fawonka. There's Herbert. I believe, yeah, he's definitely closing that gap there to car ahead. Pedro Deniz is in the pits now. So that is, I believe, Interesting strategy call there from Sauber, but it'll be interesting to see what they'll do with it. Now ride on board with Heinz Howell Frentzen, stuck in the very now infamous queue with Donker at the head of it. So it's Johnny Herbert. Johnny Herbert closing the gap now on Berger. So Tyrrell are in a good position at the moment. I think they'd be in an even better position if Sonny Hayes was still in the race, but unfortunately he had that awful accident earlier on in this race, and we do hope that he is okay. But Berger will be racing on. And Lacey, Irvine, and Vega. Hannes. So, there's a bit of battles going on here. That's Thornker. Never mind. So Thornker pits. Thornker makes his first stop, and that is also loads of other cars coming in there. So loads of other cars coming in. Thornker makes his first stop. I believe the Pacific. Yeah, Pacific's in. But Rydell not making a move on Herta. But look at how close now Herbert is behind Berger. So Herbert's going to look for a move on the Tyrrell. Berger leads as Hill pits. So Hill makes his first stop as well. So Damon Hill's in with his first stop. So Damon Hill's done very well to make those tyres last. Let's see what he can do. He's going to come out ahead of Vega in the points. So, there's Damon. And Vega. And Panis now as well ahead of Schumacher. Still. And Barrichello as well behind Rydell and Herta. Two drivers. Well, three drivers that I don't think, they had a really good performance in Pacific, and here in San Marino, they are struggling. There's Johnny Herbert still on the back of the Tyrrell of Berger. Berger leading the race here. So, Tyrrell are going to be loving this. How long as Mika Salo pits, Simtek is in. Simtek pits. Riding on board. Johnny Herbert is going to try and get as close as possible to Berger, but as we've seen, overtaking here clearly isn't very easy to come by, which is a surprise, but that's how it's been this race. So, I think these guys are going to come in? No, they're going to stay out. They are going to still ride on board with Johnny Herbert. As he flies round here. Around Tamburello. Try and get in the slipstream. I think he's close enough, really. No. You'll have to wait a few more laps. John Lacey P3 now ahead as well, ahead of Irvine. So, very interesting. But a sneaky feeling Hill has played the right strategy here compared to everyone else. Going for a one stop. But we will see. It's close for the lead now. Berger ahead of Johnny Herbert. For how long will that be? Here we go. We got, I think that's Pedro Diniz and Mika Salo. Yep. Just ahead. Now look at Lacey. P3 with McLaren. And Johnny Herbert down the inside. Just got a glimpse of that. Johnny Herbert down the inside of Berger for the lead of the race. He's not hanging about. Doesn't want to sit behind Berger. And he says, thank you very much. Does that going into the Ravazzas. So, good job there from Berger. Taking the lead. Not Berger, sorry. Herbert. Herbert and Berger. Berger's now second place. Lacey third. The main leaders are still quite close together. So you'll have to see it. But obviously, how long will that last? But I think we do still have a fair good few drivers in the race. We now go on board with Olivier Panis, who still, I believe, has a queue behind him of cars. He does indeed. Schumacher's behind him. It's Hakkinen still behind Olivier Panis. As we now reach halfway into this race. So, halfway point, ladies and gents. And that's also Hakkinen trying to go down the inside of Schumacher. And he hasn't got that done. So, Hakkinen tried to make a move there, but isn't able to get that one done. Brian Herter in 12th, Rydell 13th, Barrichello 14th. So, we have the leaders. So that's Pedro Diniz now lapped. It's our last running car on the grid at the moment, 19th. There's been 7 retirements. So, Pedro Diniz is our last runner. He's filling in for Sauber, so he's not had much time to practice. He's also got Monaco after this, so we'll see what he can do there. But trying to look on at Damon Hill. There's his teammate. Johnny Herbert. There's Mika. So, Mika Hakkinen in P9 for Larousse. How much this would mean to Evan Pardy if his team can get at least a point from this race. And now here we go. That is Brian Herter and Rydell maybe going side by side into the chicane. Nope. Back out there. This train still lingers on. And Schumacher now, is he going to try going down the inside of Panis? I think so. Pedro Diniz. And there's a lock up there from Eddie Irvine. Trying to get past the lapped car. And he's getting really held up here. But he's through on Pedro Diniz. So, Sauber again making life hard for lapped cars. So, number 30. A bit of a nuisance. Look on. Johnny Herbert. And Reed Rydell again. He's through. He's going through though. And he is. Rydell is finally through on Herter. He's waited so many laps to make that move, and he's done it. So Herter has now been overtaken. And that is, who's that? That was a car coming in. I think that's Berger. Berger is in the pit lane for his second stop. It might be his last one. We are not sure. But that's Berger into the pit lane. And he's the only car in the pits at the moment. So we are looking at Panis. And we're now looking at Herbert, who's again stuck behind that car. I believe that's Sarlo, who's stuck behind, as he's this last remaining Simtech in this race. It is indeed. But he's going to just let him through there. So Sarlo lets Herbert through. Good sportsmanship there from Sarlo. John Lacey. That's Eddie Irvine. And Damon Hill is now behind the number 30, Sauber. Now, last race, he didn't have very much fun. He's stuck behind a number 30, Sauber. But see how he gets on as, oh dear, bit of a kerfuffle here. What's going on? I'll even beat. If something happens, we'll immediately cut to them. So there we go. So Herbert still leads as the Pacific just ahead of him. Christian Fittipaldi in 17th place, minding his own business. John Lacey second. There we go. Damon Hill now going to try and go through on the number 30. Oh, he isn't. Yes, he is. And Brian Herter pits as well for a second stop. So Hill now laps the Sauber. There's Elliot Vega, P5 Ferrari on debut. He's done a fantastic job so far. And that's the car out. That's Schumacher. Schumacher's on fire. Schumacher is out of this race with an engine problem. Oh, maybe overheating. I think he's stuck behind Panis for so long. Who knows? He is out of this race. So that promotes Fischer-Keller up into P9. Hakkinen into P8. Panis now in 7th. But Herbert comes out the pit lane in P5. So Vega is now up into P4. Herbert is ahead of Berger. So Berger couldn't get the undercut on him. We thought the undercut was a lot more powerful, but clearly not for Herbert. And he had a very... Well, clearly not for Berger, sorry. So Herbert is out in P5. P5. Panis now 7th. Hakkinen 8th. Giancarlo Fisichella comes in. I believe that was in fact Berger's last stop. So Berger will not be making another stop. Neither will Herbert. So anyone pitting now are making their final stops. So now John Lacey leads. McLaren's first taste, I think, of being in the lead of the race so far this season. Barrichello pits. So Lacey will be liking this. And so will Van der Peet. Forever how long it may last. So he's stuck behind Sarlo here in lap car. There's Eddie Irvine as well behind. So Eddie Irvine in P2. As there's a car coming out the pit lane. So Herta. Oh no, sorry. That is Eddie Irvine stuck behind Herta, who's a lap car. I thought that was... Not bad. So Elliot Vega pits then. So Vega is in. Is that an engine problem? No. Oh no. I think. Oh. A bit of smoke coming out of the back of that Ferrari there, and hopefully he's fine. I think he's fine. So Vega. There's a bit of smoke coming out of the back of that car, but it seems like whatever it was, the team had fixed in the pit lane. So Vega is back out now in P7. So, team very much saving not only the car, but Vega's race here. So, Vega comes out in P7. Damon Hill, John Lacey, P1 at the moment. Sarlo, lap car, Irvine second. Load of lap cars at the moment between the leaders, so we'll see what comes of that. So there's Damon Hill. And the Lacey pits. So Lacey comes in. McLaren make the call. Lacey is in. Irvine leads. So Damon Hill now up into second place. Eddie Irvine leads. So Eddie Irvine in the lead of the race, ahead of Damon Hill. So there is Eddie Irvine for Benetton Marino. Johnny Herbert. Gerhard Berger as well, chasing Herbert down there. P3. John Lacey, Olivia Panis. There's Elliot Vega, P7. Mika Hakkinen P8. Frentzen in 9th, Rydell 10th. JJ Leto is sitting 11th, Fisichella 12th. Wonka for Jordan in 13th, Fittipaldi 14th. Sarlo in 15th. Barrichello 16th, Herta 17th. And then Pedro Diniz is our last runner down in 18th. Now take a look at Mika Sarlo, who has Irvine behind him. Well, not Irvine, not anymore. Irvine boxes from the lead. Irvine comes in, and that promotes Damon Hill back into the lead of San Marino Grand Prix. And behind him will be Johnny Herbert in second, Berger third, and Panis picked as well. So Panis is in. Will this give Vega P6 here? It will indeed. So Vega now in P6. Panis is coming out the pit lane, but how's this looking? is Mika Hakkinen going to jump him? Mika Hakkinen jumped him. Mika Hakkinen in 7th place for LaRousse. That's fantastic stuff there. So Hakkinen now running 7th for LaRousse. As Frentzen now boxes for Lotus. That will put Rydell maybe up a position. Never mind, Rydell boxes. Is Leto going to follow him in? Nope, Leto's going to stay out. And Fisichella as well. So they will be going up 2 positions respectively each. So we still have a look at Berger. There's a Lacey in 4th place for McLaren Yamaha. So at the moment it's looking like it's going to be a Williams 1-2 with Hill and Herbert 1st and 2nd, and Berger in 3rd, Lacey 4th, Irvine 5th, and Vega in 6th on an incredible debut, mind you, for Ferrari. He has driven the socks off that Ferrari, which, as we know, by no means an easy car to control. Right, there is Eddie Irvine crossing the line for 5th. Well, staying in 5th, shall I say. Mika Hakkinen 7th, Panis 8th. There's JJ Leto in 9th. With Fisichella 10th. Frentzen 11th. Sole remaining Jordan in this race. Wonka, he survived a very long while here. And there's Rydell in 13th position. And that is a car going down the inside of Fisichella. That's Barrichello. Nope, you can't get that one done. So, Barrichello in 16th, Herta 17th. Hill is about to lap Herta. So, McLaren got a very double-edged sword here today. On one hand, one car has been razor sharp, really fast. The other has struggled, not only in qualifying but in the race as well. Probably didn't help that he was stuck behind Mabong for about half the race, but you know, clearly has just been lacking in pace, unfortunately, as he lets Hill through there. So very good sportsmanship. He knows he's struggling today. And obviously, blue flag's waved, so he lets Hill through. But Berger still has Herbert in his eyesight. And right on board with the Tyrrell. How much this would mean to Jay Kirkham. He can hold on to this P3. A car that we know has been extremely powerful, surprisingly powerful this early on in the season with 2 incredible drivers behind the helm. They gambled it all at the beginning of the season on good drivers, powerful engine. Just unfortunately, the reliability has just not been there for Tyrrell. But hopefully that will change. As Barrichello now. There's a bit of traffic here for Hill, so Hill is getting stuck behind all these lap cars. But Barrichello, Silo, and Fittipaldi. Barrichello and Silo are going to have a bit of a ding-dong here. Going to the Ravazzas. Hill says, nope, I'm not having any of that. See you later, I'm going to lap you. I think he's going to lap Silo pretty soon as well. There's Johnny Herbert. So, Johnny Herbert again, still under pressure from Berger. Berger's not letting off. There's a Lacey. On board with Damon Hill then, he's going to try and lap Silo here. Silo is running in 15th. Silo 15th place for Simtech. And yeah, he's just going to let Hill through. No questions asked. Lap the car. No point putting up a fight. There's Christian Fittipaldi. Got a lack of a teammate this round as Jos Verstappen, our point scorer in round 1 for Pacific, struggled to actually qualify for this one, so a bit of a surprise. But in a very power-heavy track, the Hart engine has been struggling today, as you can tell, with Sauber as well being quite far behind. Barrichello here is going to try and send one down the inside of Silo, but no, he's not going to do that. I think anyone who actually tries to commit into that chicane is just asking to be taken out or for there to be an airplane crash. But there we go. It's Brian Herter though. Questions I think will be asked of him. Van der Peet, and there we go. That's Pacific letting through Hill, or is he? What's going on here? Oh dear. There we go. Made a bit of a hash of that there, Christian, but oh well. He's let Hill through. So, made it a lot easier than Pedro Lamy did in Pacific. And that is also, that's going to really help Salo maybe. Get through. So it's just this big battle here for the non-points positions, but Rubens trying to get past Salo, but he's not able to. Have a look at Herter. Yeah, as I was saying, I think Van der Peet will be asking questions of Herter as to where the pace is, what is going on today, and why are you so far behind your teammate. I mean, it's his rookie season. He's driving for McLaren. It's a big team, but you know, with all the testing he's had, you'd like to hope that he can perform better than he is now. So, fortunately, that is just not happening. So, there's Barrichello there. Going to try and go down the inside. No, I'll get that one done. Herter going to follow him. Maybe is Herter going to look down the inside? He's not going to get that done, is he? No, he can back off. Yep, there you go. Oh. Yellow flag, Olivier Panis! Olivier Panis retires with a puncture just out of the exit of Tamburello. That puts JJ Leto in 8th. That's heartbreak for footwork. So, after scoring points in the last race, they'll go no further. Panis out of this race with a puncture. So that is really unlucky stuff there for footwork. So they are out of the race, and the Jordan is somehow still going. So there's. Let me help Brian Herter. Just going to let through Herbert. He's not going to put up much of a fight there, there's no need to. Gerhard Berger. Still trying his best to chase down Herbert, but at this rate, it's going to be quite tough. And he's got a Lacey as well behind him, and then there's Irvine. Damon Hill has really been the second fastest today. I don't think many can argue. And Mika Salo now going to try down the inside of the Pacific. No, very close there though. Wow. Very close to making contact. A lot closer than we've seen through there, but I can't lie. I think these drivers are taking it a little bit to heart. After Pacific, we had complaints about driving standards. And it seems like now they don't even want to make an overtake. It's Johnny Herbert going really defensive into the... what's going on there with Johnny Herbert? That was really wide from Johnny Herbert. I'm not sure what that was all about. But now he's going to try and lap Barrichello. He does that fairly easily. But now there's Jean Lacey, who's just lapped his teammate and is now right behind Barrichello for a podium. Mika Häkkinen's off! What's happened to Mika? Mika's off! Oh no! Throttle problem! What's happened? It's just... Oh no, heartbreak! Yeah. Throttle problem. Oh no. The dream of points for Larousse is over. With 19 laps to go. That's awful. That is awful. Larousse were looking so good there. The points. Had a car ahead of them. Struggled. And that's it. That's game over there for Larousse. Herbert is defending from Salo for some reason. But look at this. Berger and Alesi are really close here. All this traffic is holding them up. As Berger's now going to try and lap him, lap the car ahead. Lacey's now going to try and send one down the inside, but he backs. Why is he back? He's backing out. Is that a problem? No. Oh, there's contact! There's contact! Berger's up, Barrichello's off! There's contact. Barrichello did not move out of the way. That is another Sauber who is not allowing lap cars through. Lacey had every right, to be fair. Let's have a look at a better replay than that. Let's go on board with Lacey then, from his point of view. So Barrichello should be getting out of the way, but yeah, very lucky not to have a bigger accident there. But that is going to really help Eddie Irvine, who's now sandwiched between the McLarens. One is laps, one isn't. As the Wonka pits, the Wonka's in for his final stop, I believe. So he drops loads of positions there, winning for his final stop. But now Eddie Irvine. Will Eddie Irvine now make a move on a Lacey, who might be a little bit rattled after what happened in the last lap? Let's have a look. Big guy, that's Berger now napping himself just up ahead. Is Irvine going to be side by side enough? He isn't. So Irvine isn't going to make a move. On board with Johnny Herbert, who's also now lapping the Pacific. There we go. So Johnny Herbert now up into second place. There's Berger in third, who now has a much bigger gap than he had towards the end of this lap. Not the end of the last lap, shall I say. To a Lacey. There's a Lacey. Now has Irvine behind him. And Irvine will want that P4 to keep his title charge alive. The strategy for Benetton hasn't been the greatest in this one. And a few blunders. But we'll see if the one stop pays off for Damon, because his tyres might struggle towards the end, as we're now having a look at Berger, trying to get past the Pacific of Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi just lets him through there. So, Fittipaldi in the Pacific, running in 11th, mind you. Just letting the leaders through, without question. So, that is Sarlo now as well, trying to go down the inside. Fittipaldi, he's not going to be able to get that one done. So the two back marker cars battling for supremacy. So there's only one of each car remaining in this race, and that is a Lacey now lapping Mika Sarlo. And that's Irvine trying to follow around the outside of Sarlo. He's going to get that done. He is indeed. So Eddie Irvine through on Sarlo. So I say that like he's making an actual overtake, but these lap cars are just not making it easy for the drivers who are leading. As now John Lacey might get held up by the Pacific here, as he has Irvine right behind him. So we're going to go right on board with Eddie Irvine. Here he is. So he's up behind Lacey. Let's see this unfold from Irvine's point of view. Is he going to send it? He isn't. Oh dear. That's a little bit messy. I think Irvine didn't have much confidence that Fittipaldi was going to leave him enough room, so fortunately he's lost a lot of ground to Lacey there. So Eddie Irvine will have to hold on to just 5th place at the moment. Is he going to someone down the inside? We know how that happened in the last lap, but he's through. So Irvine now through. Camera's now cut to Berger, running P3. So in a cracking race for Tyrrell so far. Obviously, apart from the fact that Sonny Hayes had that incident with Schumacher, and Schumacher is now out, but questions will still be asked regardless. Elliot Vega running P6. What a debut it's been for him so far. He might actually be the first Ferrari this season to score points. So Ferrari will like that very much. Obviously, not had a good start to the season, but what can you do? The engine is hideously unreliable. I'll be looking to get enough money come Monaco to make the upgrade on the car. The engine, shall I say, less about the car. The car seems fine. It's literally just just the engine. So there we go. That is the Minardi of Fisichella making a move on Leto for P7. So Fisichella for Minardi. It's now running in P7. He's got past Leto. Leto has just sort of minded his own business this race. That's maybe he should have minded it just a little bit more there. Defended just a little bit harder against Fisichella, because if there's a one car that drops out in the top 6, then these guys will be rubbing their hands and saying thank you, because we're not too far away from the end now. Damon Hill leads. Herbert is running in 2nd place. Berger 3rd, Alesi 4th, Irvine in 5th. And this battle still rages on for P11. That's Salo trying to go down the inside of Fittipaldi, but no, that is not happening. I'll cut Damon Hill. Still leading. Berger 3rd. So I'm just going to look at Herbert. We'll look at Damon Hill for a bit. Well, talk about the boring stuff now. So, at the moment, the team with the most funds is McLaren. After last race, they've gained 1 million. So, very good result last time. Means they pick up a hefty prize fund after the Pacific. And then I'll have a look here actually, because there's a bit more action going on here. So there's yellow flags. Who is it? Oh, it's JJ Leto. JJ Leto is out with an electric problem. Maybe that's why he was struggling a little bit there, and that's why he let Fisichella through, because he knew there was a little bit of a problem with the car, and he's out. So that's both Ligier's out. Now Ligier, they've shown strong reliability so far this season, which is quite surprising. But, you know, after getting 7th and 8th last round, it's all to naught now as Leto retires. Look at this, what's going on here? That's the Jordan trying to go down the inside of Barrichello. And he's through to Thwonka. Now up into P13 here. Hasn't qualified once this season. And he's now running P13, so Jordan going to be loving that. And the engine surprisingly surviving this far, so it's been very good. Very, very good there for Jordan. But I'm going to cut back then to all this action. Fittipaldi is now 10th. Herta is in 11th, and that is also making moves as he almost barges off Sartolo there. So Sartolo's dropped loads of positions, and now Thwonka sitting pretty in 12th place. So it's just a stricken team out on the side of the track, but there we go. We're now on lap 48 of 61. It is currently a 1-2 for Williams. So however long that may last. Mika Salo pits, so Mika Salo is in for his stop. There's Johnny Herbert, Johan Berger, Alesi, Irvine, Fittipaldi, Herta, Thwonka is on an absolute charge at the moment. Barrichello, Elliot Vega sitting in 6th place. Pedrogen is 14th. There's Mika Salo exiting the pit lane. So here he is, there's Mika. P15, I believe, second to last at the moment. Ricardo Rydell in 9th, chasing down Frentzen for P8. We cut to Johnny Herbert. And then Irvine. Oh. Eddie Irvine running 5th, probably not exactly where he wants to be at this very moment, as Eddie Irvine started P4. He's one position down from where he started. did do quite well in the start, but like I said, strategy might be the reason that he's as far back as he is at the moment. There's Johnny Herbert. So, anyway, as things have settled a bit, we'll just have a look at Fittipaldi as we just talk about the funds again. So, McLaren made the most money last race. 1 million they made, and they are now on 2.8 million. And as we see just behind, that is the one cut looking for a move on the McLaren. I think they can get that one done there. No, he isn't. Herta holds on. So, at the moment, it's looking quite good. McLaren, they're just so slowly saving up money. It's quite interesting. See how this season will play out. So we're only on round 3, but you know there's still going to be another 13 after this, and a lot can happen. I mean, as it already has. We've already had a lot happen so far this season. So there's only been 2 rounds, or 3 rounds if you include this one. So you know, it's just been incredible to have everyone involved. I think managed to get 14 managers for this, so I can be very, very grateful for everyone that's involved in this community at the moment. I just want to, while we're here, just send my thank yous, because without you guys, none of this would be as fun as it is. So, and that is, oh hey, there's a bit of movement here, and that is Herta trying to get past the Pacific, but he now backs out. The Jordan is also going to be licking his lips just behind the Herta, the McLaren. So the one can out side by side with Herta, and he's through into 11th place. That is Jordan in P11 now. The Jordan doing a very good job. Is he now going to look down the inside of the Pacific? He is. He's going to send one down the inside, but he's not going to get it done. But now that puts him under a bit of pressure from Herta behind. They come round. Aqua Minerale, which means mineral water in English, I believe. So, Fittipaldi under pressure from the Jordan behind. They're going to go side by side. And Fittipaldi gives up the positions. That's Jordan into 10th position. This is the highest position they've seen. And the highest position the one can see. He's not made it past quali yet, and he's 10th. So Jordan pulling a bit of a strategy blinder here. After holding up about 80% of the grid, he's now running P10. Now, Damon Hill, Johnny Herbert, and there's that Eddie Irvine down the inside of Alesi. Missed that. Let's have a look at the replay. So, there we go. Let's see what happened. So, Alesi now behind his Eddie Irvine, just send one. He does. Eddie Irvine not hanging about. Down the inside he goes. Alesi tries to hold it around the outside, but gives up the position. So, Alesi down in 5th place now, as Irvine goes up into 4th and will probably start chasing down Berger for P3. Ten laps to go. What will the Irishman do? That is the real question. Now, look on Gerhard Berger. And Eddie Irvine and Alesi. Still the battle going on for 12th, or 11th actually now. There's Vega there in the background coming up on this lap traffic. That is Brian Herta under pressure from Barrichello from behind. Let's go on board with Barrichello here. He is just behind Herta. Herta battling as hard as he can here, but realistically, not for any points. But maybe he's just battling for his own, I don't know, sanity's sake. Maybe get on Van der Peet's good side. Show him that he does still have that fighting spirit in him. But Barrichello might lock that down. No. So Herta defends that. Irvine 4th, Lacey 5th. Rather incredibly, we have a Jordan 10th. And Elliot Vega there lapping Barrichello. Vega P6. The Ferrari. Right on board with the American as he manoeuvres through this lap traffic. It's been an absolute roller coaster for Vega, being called in after Mansell had his race ban, and now proving that he is a star for the future. It's not over till it's over. That's what I always like to say. And might be the first recorded finish for Ferrari, and also the first recorded finish in the points this season. So, team owner Claudio Lombardi is going to be loving this. There's Elliot Vega. We'll be doing the whole nation of Italy proud here. Home crowd cheer him on. So he's now just trying to get through his lap traffic, but Herta now trying to go down the inside of the Pacific of Fittipaldi, but no. These guys are going to have to move out of the way here. That's a fast moving Ferrari behind them. That's Vega down the inside. And he switches. Wow, okay. There we go. Vega lapping cars in a very magnificent way there. But he's through to Vega now, past the lap traffic, and that is now Fittipaldi under pressure still from car behind. There's Mika Salo there for Simtech. Simtech, after scoring points in Brazil, struggled quite a bit, but I'm sure they'll bounce back for Monaco. Bear in mind, this is a very much more power-dependent track. So all the cars with more power will be doing better. That is why you're seeing the Jordan as high up as it is. It's a very powerful engine. And, quite frankly, I think it's... You know, as long as Salo can finish, I'm fairly certain Sparks will still be happy. But this man has been unstoppable since Senna's retirement earlier on in this race. It's fair to say Senna would have dominated pretty much everyone here. There's a bit of a lock-up there from Johnny. Oh, hey, careful, buddy. Let's go on board. Johnny Herbert. Locking up a bit there, so tiredness kicking in. Oh, yeah, bit of a lock-up there from Johnny. But he is alright, but he's definitely lost a bit of time to Berger. He's also, in turn, losing time to Irvine, I think. So, it's amazing that the top 5 are still relatively close together here. You'd think that by now they'd be sort of a lot more split up, but no, they are still quite close. So, we'll now come down to Ravazza. Berger chasing down Herbert. He wants to maybe try and put an end to this Williams 1-2. Now right on board with the Wonka Jr. in the Jordan. Going to get a historical P10 for the team this season. And for himself as well, it's his best result in Formula 1. Well, GP2 offline series, 1994. So, If that Jordan engine can make, not Jordan engine, Lamborghini engine can make it just 6 more laps. I think the board of Jordan will be very happy. There's Damon Hill going up to Aqua Minerale. There we go, Brian Herter now. Still under pressure from Rubens for P12. So, Rubens go on board with now. As the McLaren of Herter just up ahead. They're now heading into Minerale. 6 more laps to go. So Hill is now crossing the line. Lap 56. Rubens Barrichello now. Looking to maybe make a move. No, he's not going to try that really on Herter, is he? Right. Now cameras cut to Johnny Herbert. Still running P2. Berger third. Eddie Irvine is in 4th position. Just behind him, Jean Alesi. And then Elliot Vega in P6 for Ferrari. And now Rubens Barrichello. No. So, I think Anthony Smith is going to be pretty impressed with Christian here. He's holding off a McLaren and a Sauber in a car that is infinitely less powerful. So, it's a very good job there from the Pacific car. They now ride on board with Barrichello. Barrichello still stuck behind Herter. There's Johnny Herbert now crossing the line. That's the gap light between him and Hill. He loses 2/10 that lap. Berger only loses 2/10 that lap as well. So the gap between Berger and Herbert is staying quite similar. Berger's previous lap was quicker than Herbert's, so Berger is catching up very, very, very slightly, but definitely not enough to catch him up by the end of the race. But catching up is one thing and passing's another, so. But 2nd to 5th, all within 1 camera shot there. So, they are all still quite close. As there's still 4 more laps to go, coming up for 3. There's Damon Hill. Who has driven outstandingly there. Herbert in 2nd. Berger in 3rd. So, Berger rounding these last 2 corners here. So, yeah, the gaps are staying. So Herbert's dropping a lot more than Berger is. So, no, the gaps are staying quite similar actually. So, it's not really an increase or decrease in gaps between all these cars. They're all sort of staying pace-wise quite similar. So, we are going to cut back to this battle though, as Herter and Barrichello are still at it for P12, with Fittipaldi still sat in P11. He's Given a great race, really. As the Pacific. Not in the points. But at that point, what else could you do? He's proven that he's more than capable. As here we go. Herter now. As Barrichello down the inside. Barrichello switches around. Is he going to try send one? No, he isn't. Head down into hairpin here. Flying upwards. Into... Oh. Piratella and Aqua Minerale. Here they are. Left, right, left, right. Right again. So, now they're coming up into Variante Alta. Chicane. Go. So, just following sort of one by one. There we go. Herter now going to try to look down the inside of Fittipaldi, but no, he's not going to be able to get that one done. So, Fittipaldi. Just hold off these two. Hard. It's a hard drivers to keep behind, so it's a testament to Fittipaldi's ability here. As guys are all a lap down, so technically these guys are on lap 58. Leaders are on 59. But here we go. Is Herter going to look for a move on Fittipaldi here? The McLaren against the Pacific. Here we go. He's going to look down the inside. Is he going to get it done? Nope. Backs out. Fittipaldi holds off. You could sense that Fittipaldi was closing the door there going into that corner. Wasn't having any of it. So, Brian Herter now. Might be having a bit of a conversation, I think, with Van der Peet after this one. As to why he was so far off pace. He's fighting two Hart engines who are in where they need to be, and where they're expected to be, shall I say. But there we go. That's Barrichello trying to send one down the inside of Herter, but not happening. So there they go then. Down to Variante Bassa. And they're now crossing the line for the 59th lap. So there we go. So Herter still stuck behind the Pacific. But he really wants to change that. He's going to try to go down the inside here, but he's just not going to send it, is he? No. Backs off. There we go. Damon Hill, though, he's coming on to start the final lap of the race. It's been a very interesting race, this one. It has to be said. It's had its up moments, and it's had its low moments. But here we go. Damon Hill starts his final lap. We're going to go on board with him. Here he goes. Comes into Tamburello there. A fast left-hander. Then heading into Villeneuve and then into Tosa. Braking at the 100-metre board. There is his yellow flags. Who is that? There's yellows being flown. It's Fisichella. The Minardi retires on the last lap of the race. He's out. Fisichella is out of the race. Shock. So, Fisichella is out. Minardi retiring. The failure of sort. That'll put Frentzen into 8th, Rydell into 7th, Wonka into 9th. That's drama on the last lap of the race. Fisichella, his engine blows out. A final lap. But here comes Damon Hill then. in the final sector of this racetrack. It's got Rydell just up ahead. Rydell will be able to do this final lap. Or his final lap, shall I say. But here we go, David Hill around the final chicane. David Hill wins the San Marino Grand Prix. He leads home a Williams 1-2. He's got, there we go, Frentzen just behind in 8th. Herbert in 2nd there, finishing off a fantastic 1-2. And Tyrrell there, get their first podium and their first finish of the season. Berger P3, Eddie Irvine P4, and Lacey P5. And Elliot Vega now is having Thornker down the inside. So Thornker's trying to unlap himself, but it's gone a futile at this point. But Vega is going to be the first Ferrari driver to score points this season. The reserve driver rounds off his final 2 corners, or final few corners, shall I say, and scores points for Ferrari. How incredible is that? There we go. It crosses the line. Vega P6. Fantastic. The Wonka P9. The Jordan makes it to the end. Christian Fittipaldi here is going to cross the line in P10 for Pacific. Herter 11th for McLaren. Barrichello 12th. Pedro Diniz follows him in P13. Mika Salo P14. And there's Ricard Rydell. It's going to be our last finisher of today's race. There's Rydell close to getting points on a bit of a comeback story. But no car ahead of him was to retire. But he finishes the race, P7. Not too bad from the Super Swede. He crosses the line. And that is the San Marino Grand Prix. Thanks for watching.